Hi everybody, I hope that you can hear me because I'm filming from my phone and it's a little distance away, so and I don't talk really hard. So I hope that you are hearing me. If you are hearing me, let me know. Like, mark this point and say, hey, I'm hearing you. Okay. All right. Okay, so I wanted to do a little sit down, not get ready, but I wanted to do a little sit down chit chat video, telling you guys why I remigrated to Guyana, why I returned to Guyana at this time of my life. Hi guys, I just wanted to put the video here and invite you to subscribe to my channel, thumbs up this video, and leave a comment down below so that my channel can hit the algorithm and it can grow. All right, thank you so much. Start from the beginning. So I first left Guyana when I was a teenager. I was 16 going into 17. Yeah, I was turning 17 the year later in the year that we left to go to the United States, my mother and I, right? And I mean, I didn't really have a choice. You know, my mom was not going to leave Guyana and leave me here for anybody to raise me or anything like that. You know, she was like, wherever I'm going, you're going with me. So we moved to the United States. And I must say, my first 2 weeks there was good. But after those 2 weeks, it was absolute, I don't want to use that word. It was a nightmare. And I don't want to get too in depth into that right now. I don't want to talk about the things that happened to me, but let's just say that it affected me physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually for years, a decade. I always knew in my heart, even before I left Guyana, I always knew that I wanted to return back to Guyana to live and to work and to raise a family and so on and so forth. I always knew that I wanted to get my education done in the United States, and then afterwards I was going to come home. Well, bring my mom and I would have come back home and, you know, set my life up here and stuff because why Guyana is home. Years has passed, and I have since lived in the United States longer than I had lived in Guyana. So throughout the time that we arrived to the time that me returning back home, there were a lot of ups and a lot of downs. And of course, you know, my mom passed away. And one of the reasons why I came back home is because this is home. Guyana is home for me. So I'm editing the video and I just wanted to say also, I never ever felt like America was home for me. I was forcing myself to adjust, but for years it just wasn't clicking. Every year I felt like, okay, maybe this year I will feel what other people are feeling, but it just never felt like home at all for me. And it could be akin to, again, my early experience, what, you know, the things that have happened to me when I first got there. And it just left this impression that it never felt like home. Right? I mean, I thought about, because I lived in New York most, my teenage years. I lived in the state of New York, right? I did visit other states, but I never really wanted to live anywhere else. And when the time came for me to leave where I was in upstate New York. And after my mom had passed away, I'm like, I can't stay here anymore. And then I was going through some other, personal issues. And there was just so many good and a lot of bad memories in upstate New York, and I knew I needed to get away. So I was praying, and I'm like, Lord, I need to move from this place. I felt like I was far away from everything, although I wasn't. I was like 3 hours or so outside of New York City, but I never really wanted to go down to the city too much because I used to live in New York City for a while when I was in school. I didn't finish school, by the way, but I knew that I didn't want to like be commuting back and forth or doing the things that I was praying. I'm like, Lord, I need to move, but I had no idea where I wanted to go. So it came down to two states, right? Well, yeah, the state of New York, staying in the state of New York, or like New Jersey side, and Florida. I did not want to go anywhere else. I played with going to South Carolina. I played around with going to North Carolina. I was doing a lot of research. I never wanted to go to California. I never wanted to go to any other state. I never wanted to live in Georgia. It's either Florida or New York or Jersey, right? But for some reason, every time I would see something about Florida, it was always some crazy story popping out of Florida. So I'm like, God doesn't want me to go to Florida. So then I'm like, okay, God, I will stick with New York. And then it boiled down to Queens or Long Island, right? I wanted to go to Queens or Long Island. So after I decided, okay, Lord, well, it's either between Queens or Long Island, I started to gravitate more to Queens. And once I came into agreement with Queens, it's like everything started to happen really, really, really quickly. I A friend of mine had found someone that was renting a room. She's like, I need you to check out this person. It was in Far Rockaway. But then a former friend of mine was like, I got somebody for you. She's like, wait a couple weeks. And then, no, she's like, wait, let me find out. And then once she got the okay, she's like, just pack your things and God is going to make a way. And when I tell you, it happened so fast, it happened really, really fast. August last year, I moved really quickly. So I thought that when I moved from upstate New York down to New York City, I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is like my new beginning, mommy is not around and I'm dealing with other situations. So this is my new beginning. God is going to, turn my life around and so on and so forth. So again, with this new place now, the first couple of weeks or the first 2 weeks or so, it was good. But then by the third week, I got a phone call from somebody asking me, are you happy where you are? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm good. I like the space because I had downsized tremendously. I went from a 2-bedroom apartment full of space, 2 full bedrooms, bathroom, kitchen, living room. It was so spacious. And I lived there for so many years to like a room, right? I was condensed to a room, but it wasn't a small room. It wasn't uncomfortable for me or anything like that. But the minute I had a conversation with that person, I came off the phone with them, literally the next day, a whirlwind came and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse until one day things became so explosive. I sat in my car while a whole storm was going on around me outside. And I'm like, God, I don't have to go through this. I want to go home. And maybe that's all I needed to say. And ever since, from that moment, it's like God sped up the process and I ended up coming back home. Another reason why I came back home to Guyana is that I never really fully settled in the United States. Like, because my initial introduction to the country was not positive, it resonated with me. And for years, I was going through life, yes, but I was dealing with so much mentally. My mom stayed on her knees, stayed before the face of God, praying for me, praying for my mental health and so on and so forth. There were so many times where I wanted to like end it all. I was just struggling mentally and emotionally. I felt so lost in that country for years. I felt so unseen. I felt so unwanted. I felt like I didn't have a purpose. I had no idea what I was doing with my life. I wasn't getting a footing, and to me everybody else was going forward and I felt so stagnated. Initially, like I said earlier in the video, my goal was to come and get my education. I wanted to go as far as I can go with my education because I had so many plans in my head where I wanted to take care of, especially my mommy, because she sacrificed so much for me, and I wanted to be able to give her half at least of what she has given to me, throughout my lifetime. And I didn't get the chance to do it because she passed away. And I never really felt like I belonged. I tried, and many people didn't understand me. I was very emotional. They didn't understand why I was crying so much. I couldn't explain to them why I was so broken. Like, my soul was broken. I was very wounded by so many things. Now that I'm looking back at it, there's a lot of trauma from my childhood. I didn't grow up in a bad home, but I grew up without my dad, and that really affected me, affected my relationships, affected the things that I accepted and thought was normal, and it wasn't normal. Now that I'm older now and I'm understanding life a little bit more, so I'm like, many times my mom used to send me back home. I used to come home to Guyana, study, and I would stay for long periods of time. And I just felt comfortable. Like, whenever I would come home, I would feel so comfortable. I would feel so much more like relaxed, you know, and so on and so forth. I did try before to move back, but I only stayed for 4 months because mentally I wasn't fully prepared. I was running from something, and I was in a relationship at the time that we were young, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out. God knew why he didn't allow it to work out, but I only ended up staying for 4 months, and then I went back to America. Also, I felt guilty because my mom was in America by herself, and I was over here having a good old time, and she was working. I felt really bad. So I'm like, you know what, Jay, just go back home and go work and go be with your mom, you know? And I try my best to, I was forcing myself to stay. I was forcing myself to feel what other people were feeling, but it just wasn't clicking at all for me. So I knew that at some point I have to, leave the country. I have to come back home. I didn't want to move to another country, nobody else's country. I knew that I always wanted to come home, back to Guyana. Before my mom passed away, her and I had a discussion, and we came to the decision together that we're gonna come back home to Guyana because we went through a lot of things in the United States. But God is so faithful and God is so merciful. He took care of us. But it wasn't an easy journey. I know many people have a story to tell, and trust me, I have a story to tell. I will share my story when the Lord permits me to share it. But we had decided, okay, that we're gonna come back home. And I had left my job to take care of my mom, right? I was like, I'm gonna start doing like side gig work so that I can take care of my mom and be with her. But God had other plans. And so after mommy had passed away, I stayed in the area for about a year or so, continuing to go to work. And trust me, it was not easy. It's still not easy because it was always her and I all of my life until, I got married, and then, but it was still her and I. Um, and I knew I had to come home at some point. Okay, so years prior, my mom and I, we used to sit down and talk about our property. My mom has a property, right? In Guyana, and we need to build the house, and that's something that I always wanted to do. I wanted to do that on my own for her. I wanted to build it so beautiful. I wanted to make sure that everything is there so that when she comes home, she's super comfortable, because mommy only came back to Guyana once after we had left Guyana. So, uh, I used to tell her, I said, Mommy, one of us will have to be home. Either you will have to be home full time, or I will have to be home full time, so that we can oversee and make sure everything is done correctly. Because certain things you don't want to leave up to other people to do, because people take advantage of you when people that don't have proper integrity or morals, they will take advantage of you when you are away and you're trusting them to do certain things for you. I've heard many stories, and not just in Guyana, but with other countries. People have complained, they trusted family members to do certain things for them and build houses, and they're thinking they're sending their hard-earned money, and when they go to their countries, there's nothing to show, and the people don't even apologize, so we had talked about that. So after mommy had passed away, now I'm like, okay, I have this property, and it's still on for me. It's still something that I want to do. I do intend on doing. So now I definitely will have to be in Guyana long term, because I don't really trust that many people. You know what I mean? So that's another reason too why I'm here, why I came home, because have eventually I would like to start um building a house, and eventually I'll you know so I want to be here to see everything that's going on. Yeah, life was feeling so mundane. um I don't like there was just something that was you I was feeling sad. I wasn't excited about anything. There was just so much, like, to me, like, there's really, for me, I didn't feel like I was really having a life in the United States like I would have wanted to. Because all you're doing, for me, I was just working, and I didn't have like a social life or anything like that. When I was younger, when I was, in my early 20s, when I was in school and stuff, I used to go out. But after a while, very early on, I stopped doing that. In my 20s, I stopped. One day, I just was like, I can't keep doing this, because there's nothing really fulfilling about this. Going to parties, going to the club on the weekend. I wasn't a drinker, but after a while, it became very, for years I had stopped doing it. I stopped hanging out with the friends that I used to hang out with, because I wanted more out of life. And I just, it just, I felt like I was going through them. I was just going, like, I felt like I was going around a circle. I was going around in a circle, or I was going around this mountain, and I wanted to start climbing up the mountain, Um, and then also when I moved down to New York City now, after things began to become very difficult, living wise, mentally, it was a straight, like, I felt a little bit before I moved back to Guyana, I felt like the plan that the enemy had for me was for me to literally go crazy. Because when I tell you, it was problems upon problems. Old people get a saying, "Old house upon old house." It was, oh my gosh, it was so much. And many, many days, I used to cry, like cry a lot. And I'm like, God, what is this? Why are you allowing me to go through this? How long will I have to go through this? Because it was years, and then things from the past will come back to my memory. And I'm like, why are you allowing me to go through so much trials and testings? Why am I being tested so much? I felt like I was going to go crazy, y'all. And I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta get up out of here. I don't care. I don't care about the material things. I didn't have a desire to build a life in the United States. I didn't want to buy a house anymore. I didn't want to, you know, it just, to me, it just wasn't worth it for mentally. Um, I just wanted to be free, and I wanted to be home, and I just wanted like a slower pace in life. And I just felt like I needed to, to leave the land, to come back home, you know? Hopefully I'm making sense. There are some personal issues that I'm dealing with, which I don't want to get too in depth with and put online. Um, but that is also one of the reasons why the Lord has allowed me to come home to deal with these situations. Um, all I'm gonna ask you guys is just to remember my husband and I in prayers. If you are praying, people, please pray for us. Please do. I pray for us, but I'm asking you to just pray for us because it's not easy. But I believe that now is the time that the Lord wanted me to be home. I really believe in my heart that I am here on a specific assignment, not just for my personal life, but for the nation in itself. I believe that the Lord is about to do some really great things. He's about to shift things up or shake things up in this country. And I believe that He has sent me here to do His work, and He has me in training for what He's about to do with my life or through my life to help others who are here and that needs the help and the guidance. So yeah. And also, I wanted to come home, y'all. I wanted to come home. I got tired of being away. I wanted to come home. I always wanted to work in Guyana. I always wanted to, again, have children, raise my children here. Of course, I will have the opportunity to travel and go and see other places should the Lord tarry. But I just wanted for my children to have that experience that I had and their dad would have had growing up. Um, and also the food. Hello, the food. Since I've been eating here, everything just tastes so much more better. The food is much more richer, it's tastier. The weather, hello. It rained today for maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes, really hard, and then the sun came out. It's January and it's nice and hot. I can deal with that. I can't deal with the cold anymore. I mean, at some point I will, visit maybe in the wintertime just to feel some snow on my toes or pick up some snow in my hands again. But in terms of like living full time, no, I'm not going to be living full time. Guyana is home for me now. Um, so, and then the cost of living. Well, the cost of living is high. It's expensive to live here. But I believe that I've learned enough, and I continue to learn. Um, I'm learning about money and how to make money work for me, and also I've matured a lot more. I'm not on that same little girl, for lack of a better term, vibe that I was on, when I would come to Guyana, come and party and spend money. And no, it's a different ball game. I'm an adult now, so it's all about, taking care of your home, and saving more, and buying what is necessary, and you know what I'm saying. So, because you have to be very wise, to me, living here, cost of living wise, you have to be extremely wise with how you spending your money. Don't spend it frivolously, and make sure that the things that you're buying are of a necessity and not just a want, but it's of a need. A couple of things that I need to get. I need to get a car. I need to get a vehicle. I have to get my license situation sorted out, and the goal is to get a car. So watch my videos and help me on this platform, so that it will, I'll be able to get my car sooner rather than later. Because for me, I've been driving for most of my life. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking the transportation, but I don't want to be relying on transportation, because they don't have like a specific, metro system. They don't have like a city bus, or the country doesn't have like a type of metro system where that buses are coming at a certain time or anything like that. I know that they are looking into getting trains, but I don't know how far down the pipeline that is going to be. So right now it's about taking the minibuses, and then some of the drivers are driving a little crazy on the road, and so I need my own mode of transportation to be able to get from point A to point B. I'm not in Georgetown. I am about 45 minutes or so, once the traffic is cool, outside of Georgetown. But once the traffic is crazy, it's like an hour, it could be 2 hours. So I'd rather be in my own car. So that's something that I need to get. And do intend on growing a little garden. So I want to grow some tomatoes, because tomatoes are expensive here, and I like tomatoes in my food. And I intend on growing some other herbs and stuff like that in my backyard, which I think I showed you earlier. The backyard needs to clean, and you got to keep it maintained so that the veggies can grow. But yeah, I wanted to be home, and I am so glad that I came home at this time. And I remember telling myself that I do not want to spend another year in the United States. I did not want to. For me, 2025 would have been the last full year that I would have been staying in America, because I just I wasn't doing well, y'all, mentally and emotionally. I was not doing well. That's why y'all didn't really see me online as much. I was going through so much, so much, so much. But, the Bible says, the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. But the Bible doesn't say that. I think that's the same. If it's a Bible verse, I will put it somewhere here. But the harder the battle, the tougher the battle, the sweeter the victory. And I know that the victory is coming in every area of my life. And I mean, I know that there are some people that are in America. They're like, oh, I would never return back to Guyana, so on and so forth. And I think that that's crazy, because to me, you're in another man's land, and they are, even if you are a citizen of that country, even if you're paying taxes, you're doing all these things, they are at liberty to kick you out of their country at any given moment. And where are you gonna go, to another man's land? No. So I believe that if you're Guyanese, you're watching this, and you don't have anything here, you don't have any property here, I believe you should go into the government, to go sign up to get a piece of land and build something on it, and have it there. Have someone that you can trust to oversee it for you, so that if push comes to shove, you got to leave the people's country, you have something to come back to, right? And besides, we got the opportunity to leave Guyana to go to these other countries to learn about certain things. I believe that if I didn't get a chance to leave Guyana and to grow in the United States and to learn about life, I think I would have had the same kind of mentality that some Guyanese have, you know? But I'm very grateful for the opportunity. God knew why He allowed us to leave, and there is a time span for everything. There is a time when He would say, "Okay, this is going to begin, and this is a time when it's going to come to an end, and something new will begin." So, um, I'm glad to be home. I'm glad to get things started, to be of an asset to our society. That's another thing that I always wanted to do. I want to, and I will be um, a member of our society that is uplifting others. I want to be able to create jobs for our young people, young men and young women, so that they are doing stuff with their lives. You know what I'm saying? Um, what else? Also, I want to help. I really want to help. And then the best way for me to be able to help is being on the ground. Guys, let me tell you, I feel so satisfied being home. Things are not 100%, but honestly, I won't complain. I won't complain. I made a promise to God that I'm not going to complain about anything because I am very grateful to be home. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. There is no place like home. I'm telling you, no place like home. The opportunities that are here, they're endless. There's so much opportunities here. You know, there's so many things that we can implement. We can teach other people, you know. So, yeah. So I'm looking forward to um, a successful life. I know that there will be trials, but I know that God is on my side, and I'm looking forward to success in every area of my life, in my personal life, in my career, whatever that is, how God is leading me in my spiritual life, financial life, in every all around. I am looking forward to be a success. And you know, another person that has inspired me, I was looking at the life of Dr. Miles Monroe. The late great Dr. Miles Monroe was a man, a well-renowned preacher, teacher, and coach. And that man was in demand by leaders of nations all over the world. And he lived in the Bahamas. And I'm like, God, look at how you lifted this man from this small island and you took him all over the world and you gave him such wisdom. What can't you do with this little woman here in this little nation in South America, from South America? So I decided to trust God. One day when I was in my shower and I was crying out to the Lord, He said to me, He said, I just want you to work with me. And so I'm on this journey, moving completely by faith and not by sight, although some of the things that I've been seeing, it's hurtful, but I'm moving by faith. And I trust God. And I know that it's going to be beautiful. I know that it's going to be beautiful. So, I hope that this video I hope you listen to me. I know it's long, and I hope that I made sense. And if you have been contemplating coming home, pray about it. There is absolutely no place like home. I'm telling you, there is absolutely no place like home. Pray about it. Let the Lord lead you and let Him guide you. There is no need. If you are unhappy in somebody else's country, there is no need for you to sit down every day and complain about being unhappy when you have your home to come to. You have your home country. Look at this beautiful sunlight that's coming through the window and this glorious afternoon. You know, I love it. I love it. Yeah. So it was time. It was time to come home. And I'm glad that I'm here. All right. So if you've made it to the end of this video, please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe and share this video with anyone, your friends and family. And yeah, and boost so that my channel can be boosted and hit the algorithm and so that my channel can grow. And yeah, thank you. God bless you, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.